random people. But if you're happy to say hi to us, you can shoot your hand. I'll see you and give you the mic. Please note that you do not have the ability to unmute yourself. We have those controls just to ensure that there is no much noise in the session. But before that, Zacchaeus, please confirm you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear, Director. I can hear you.
All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you very much. So let me pick a few people to say hi to us. Martin Karaoke. Martin, please say hi to us. Unmute yourself. I've given you the mic. Unmute yourself and say hi to us. Martin Karaoke, if you can hear me. Herbert Simiyu, can you hear me? Okay, today people do not want to say hi to us. Let's see who else is here. Brian Morigi. Brian, if you can hear me, I've given you the mic. Unmute yourself and say hi to us.
Hello.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you too. Are you a fresh graduate or you graduated a long time? Where are you logging in from tonight?
Yes, I graduated some times back. That was back in 2024.
Amazing. What are you doing and where are you at currently? All right. I think we lost Brian over there. All right. Let's pick another person. Mambo Bakari. Mr. Mambo, good evening to you, sir. You have the mic. You can unmute yourself and say hi to us. Mambo Bakari. All right. Today, people do not want to say hi to us. JN Juki, please say hi to us. Tell us where you're logging in from and what you're doing currently with yourself. JN Juki. All right.
Yes, Madam Virginia. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Where are you logging in from?
I'm in Kajiado County.
Yes.
In Kitengela.
Yes.
Yes, and I run a law firm.
Yes.
And I graduated in 2015.
Amazing. Thank you, Njuki, for joining us. Do you have opportunities that some alumni, recent graduate can come and do in your place, maybe?
Unfortunately, not for now, but once an opportunity is there, I'll let you know.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. That's very much appreciated, Njuki, Madam Njuki. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, Mambo Bakari, now I can see your hand. Please say, unmute yourself. Tell us where you're logging in from, what you did, what you're doing currently with yourself. Mambo Bakari. All right. Julie Asan. Julie Asan, salimia tafadhali. Unmute yourself, Julie. All right. Julie Asan. Okay. John, let's pick one last one, maybe one last one. John Ouru. Please unmute yourself and say hi to us. Mr. John Ouru, unmute yourself. Zach, please confirm you can hear me.
And clear, Director. I can hear you.
All right, amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know why our people are not able to unmute themselves and say hi. Okay, let's pick one last one. Peter Irongo. Mr. Peter Irongo, please unmute yourself and say hi to us. Mr. Peter Irongo? Not so sure. All right. I'm not so sure why people are not able to unmute themselves. Ideally, that should be able to, should happen. But nonetheless, thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very much excited today to do our part 3 of 4 of the career foundations. And it is really a joy for us to have you guys on board. Please allow us to ask you to share the link. We have kept sharing the links for tonight's webinar, and we are kindly asking you to continue to share it. Share out that link with your classmates, with your colleagues, with your friends. Let them join this life-changing webinar, really. I know we are going to talk about interview readiness, and we are always doing interviews. Even if you are an older alumni or you graduated a long time ago, this is not just for fresh graduates. I know Career Foundations is basically for fresh graduates, but yes, we are all doing one interview or the other, and so the webinar is open to all of us. So ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to be starting this webinar today. My name is Virginia Kinankau. I am the Director Alumni Relations at Mount Kenya University, and I am excited to be the host for yet another, another session. This is our third session this week. And yes, we are doing a series. If you've not joined us, or this is the first time you're joining us, please note that we have part 1, which we did on Monday. We did CV, winning CVs and cover letters, and we had Madam Sophie Wasonga take us through the session. And yesterday we did global careers and remote work opportunities and amazing conversations. All those, we have put them on our MKU Alumni Association YouTube channel. Please go there and get to watch those again. Get a recap of those. If you're not able to do that, we have still shared them on our various WhatsApp groups. We have the links. Please watch them. Listen, this is knowledge just for you. So it is our hope that you will make very good use of it. So asanteni sana. We are very excited to have you on board. And so allow me to pray for us, and then after that, I'll read the bio of the keynote speaker. He will get to, speak to us, and after which he will do questions. And then last but not least, we will have a representative from MKU Alumni Association, probably the chairperson or the vice chairperson, saying hi to us and closing the meeting for us. So may we believe and pray. Amazing Lord, we thank you for tonight. We are so excited to be joined here by each and every one of us. Thank you for the opportunity to come together and learn about how to prepare for interviews, how to get ready for the same, how to be confident in interview sessions, and Lord, even how to answer various questions during interview sessions. And so, Lord, we pray that for all our alumni that are trusting you for opportunities, those that are trusting you for jobs, Lord, we pray, may you be with them. Thank you for the larger MKU community. May you continue to help us to thrive and to flourish in the various things that we do. We thank you for the speaker tonight, Prof. Peter Kirira. We pray, Lord, may you help him, may you enable him to be able to deliver everything that he has planned to deliver to us tonight. May we be able to understand the concepts as he delivers them. Thank you for everyone who is intending to join us. We pray that you bring them hurriedly so that we can continue in one spirit. We love and exalt your name for the all of us. May your name be praised and glorified. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen and amen. Ladies and gentlemen, today I get the pleasure of inviting a very key person in the university management. And this is very important for us because it then shows us that, you know, this thing is not just an alumni directorate thing. It's not something just for the alumni association. We have a lot of blessings from management and from the university management. And so today we are extremely privileged to have the Vice Chancellor of Mount Kenya, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Mount Kenya University, be our speaker tonight. So our speaker tonight goes by the name Prof. Peter Gakio Kirira. He is a distinguished Kenyan pharmaceutical chemist. He is an academic leader and a researcher. Is currently serving as Deputy Vice Chancellor for Administration, Planning and Institutional Advancement at Mount Kenya University. Previously, he served as the Principal of the College of Graduate Studies and Research at the same institution, that is Mount Kenya University. Prof. Kirira holds a PhD in Pharmaceutical Sciences from Nagasaki University in Japan, and he has his MSc in Organic Chemistry from Kenyatta University. Prof. Kirira has served as a member of the University Interview Committee, and this is very important. This is why we have him on board tonight. He has served as a member of the University Interview Committee for the last 9 years. And as a chair of that committee for the last 5 years. He has also served as a chair and committee member for competitive recruitment of postgraduate students for donor-funded scholarships, opportunities locally and abroad. He is also a member of the MKU Annual Alumni Award Evaluation Committee, which is very important. Prof. Kirira has authored and co-authored over 50 peer-reviewed publications, and he holds 3 Kenya-based patents in antimalarial drug synthesis. Prof. Kirira also participates in civic engagement. He has spearheaded community programs worth over 20 million Kenya shillings, and he has presented his work at multiple international conferences and actively builds civic academic partnerships. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, put your emojis together, put any of your reactions together for the one and only Prof. Peter Kirira. DVC, the stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Director. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you're audible, but we can't see your face.
Yes, it looks like the camera is still not restricted. So you can check your settings.
All right. You should be able to show your camera, Prof.
Yes,
Okay.
my camera is on, so I don't know whether are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, we are able to see the presentation.
All right, so thank you very much, Director, and good evening, everyone. I hope you'll be able to see me in the process, in the course of the presentation. So I'm very happy today to come back again to talk about interview readiness on issues of structuring responses and building confidence. I know I gave a similar presentation a few months ago, and when I was approached by the alumni unit, I was happy to come back and still talk about the same matter and to share the knowledge that I have gathered as the profile has been mentioned. So I'll present or talk about this topic through going through 5 areas. First, I'll mention briefly about where to find job openings. Also talk about the job application process. I'll give you my suggestions on how I think we should prepare for interviews. I'll talk about some of the strategies that I've seen work. And also at the tail end, I'll talk about common interview questions that you may encounter in the process of applying for jobs. So let me start with the first one. Where do I find jobs? I know some of you are already working, others are in the process of looking for places to work. So it is important to know where you can get available opportunities. So we have very many communications that sometimes go out, and we don't know where to get that information. You may miss out on opportunity that can be career changing. As the director has mentioned, of course, even those who have jobs, sometimes we go out to look for more challenges, to look for better opportunities, and therefore it's also important to know where you can be able to get these opportunities. So we have online postings. You'll be able to find this in the local media or even in different websites. But most importantly, we have institutional career portals. Good number of institutions will be able to post their jobs in the career portal. So if you go to the website of some institutions, you'll be able to, and you go to the career button, you'll be able to see some of the available opportunities that you can apply for. You also have job aggregators. These are websites or institutions that go looking for or mining job opportunities, and they post them in their website. Examples are like Bright Monday, and also other platforms like LinkedIn. Those who are in LinkedIn, I would advise members to be in LinkedIn. There are a lot of opportunities that you'll be able to find that are aligned to the qualifications you have put in the LinkedIn. There are also other opportunities or other agencies, the recruitment agencies that are normally hired or are there, which are professionals. They have HR managers, HR team members, and their job is to help organizations recruit. If you go to some of the record dailies, you'll find that they'll have job opportunities, and when you check, you don't see who is hiring. So they normally indicate that our client is looking for a manager to do ABCD, and then you are given a website where you can find more information. So these are recruitment agencies that help institutions not be bothered with issues of recruitment because they can be time consuming. You also have local dailies, newspapers. You have some opportunities that are posted there. Mostly Friday newspapers, Wednesday sometimes. So you'll be able to see opportunities that are posted. The Public Service Commission also posts in the local dailies. Sometimes also you find in their website. Another important avenue for getting jobs opportunities is networks. That's why you always say your network is your net worth. This alumni platform is a very good place where you may be able to get to know which openings are available, especially in organizations that don't believe in publishing most of the available positions in the traditional outlets. So it is always good to maintain good communication with the alumni, with the alma mater, so that you're able to see what is going on. So invest in social capital, have friends, talk about these things, and they never know your job may be an alumni or alumnus away. So check also how prospective employers recruit. If you want to work for a certain employer, it is important to know where do they post their job positions. When they have opportunities, where are they posted? So that you keep on checking from where those positions are posted. There are others who allow you to send unsolicited applications. This means that there's no opportunity available, but they allow you to send applications to the HR. So when the applications are available, you be called and told that the application you are sent in can now be considered. But there are not so many employers who do that, but there are those who allow that to happen. So it is important to be on the lookout. So I've mentioned MKU as one of the institutions. We put our opportunities in the website. So if you go to our website, you'll find that there's a tab called careers. If you click on that tab, it opens up a window. And as you can see, this one I captured it today. We have 4 positions that are open, and the deadline is on 30th of August. You have a position of Data Director, Information Systems Audit, Director Internal and System Audit. We have Director Risk Management and Assurance. We have also Dean of Student position is open. So all these positions in the next 5 days, they are available for people to apply. So this is what I'm saying. Keep on checking with the MKU, of course, as your alma mater, but also keep on checking with any other prospective employer that you'd want to work with. So maybe also to mention that one of the questions maybe some of you may want to know is MKU, does MKU recruit? And also does MKU recruit alumni? And the answer is yes. So I've asked the HR to give me data since 2023 on where MKU has recruited from, and out of the people you have recruited, what percentage of alumni have we recruited? And you can see in 2023, we recruited 23%, 24%. That is total number of positions recruited in 2023. 24 of them were our students, our graduates. 2024, that percentage grew up to 26%. In 2025, we are talking about 3%. And this year, of course, we still have positions going out. So we heavily recruit our alumni. Of course, it is a meritocracy. We recruit our alumni because they qualify for the positions we have applied for. So I can answer this question. Yes, MKU indeed does recruit their alumni. We believe in our products, and a number of alumni are working with us. So some of the positions that we have been filled by the alumni in the last 3 years that I've mentioned, we have lecturers, and in this case, we have lecturers in clinical sciences, Kiswahili, history, business, nursing. All those have been taken up by alumni. We have directors who have been recruited since 2023. We have recruited some accountants, clinical officers, archivists for our directorate of exams. We've recruited some tutorial fellows. These are lecturers with master's degree in health records and information management, journalism and mass communication, computing, animal health. We've been able to recruit a good number of tutorial fellows. We've also recruited student recruitment officers. These are people who help us to recruit students to come and study with us. Laboratory technologies, we have done a number of them. Customer relations officers, counselors, ICT technicians, library assistants, assistant registrars, and amongst others. I just sampled a few that just to show you that we recruit across the board. So allow me to transition a bit and talk about what we should do, especially those who want to join the job market. I think it is important for me to highlight what you should look for. When you get an opening, it's important for you to ensure that you read the advert carefully and see the specific details that are required. Number 2, you make sure that the application you're doing for the job is tailor-made for the details that the employer wants. When they're doing shortlisting, we look at the one that is fitting the position I've applied for. So if you don't tailor-make your application documents, the job there's a possibility that it will not be shortlisted because sometimes you get overwhelming number of applications. So it is important to invest your time in ensuring that you can make your documents to the job. When it comes to CV, make sure it is concise, make sure that it is in professional fonts, keep the CV short. The narrative in the application cover letter, because you need to have an application cover letter, should tick the job requirements and it should be to the point. So depending on what is required, that's our job requirements, make sure that what you put in the application cover letter is addressing the things that had been indicated as required by the employer. Make sure you proofread your documents. If you give an application with typos, reckless errors in the application, it means you're not a careful person. So the perception from the word go is that it's not somebody who would want to bring on board, because it's not somebody who cannot even take time to proofread their document. Then the other one is include all required information and documentation. If you're told to include a copy of your ID, make sure the copy of your ID is there. If you're told to include certificates, make sure the certificates are included. And of course, I would not belabor the last point that you need to submit your documents within the timelines and in the preferred mode. If you're told to submit as PDF, please don't submit as a Word document. If you're told to submit to a maximum of 200 words, for example, maybe the application letter should be a maximum of 200 words. Make sure you observe that word count. Don't have 250 words and say you don't want to lose something, because you may be eliminated on the fact that you're not following instruction. It means when you get a job, you'll also not follow instructions. So so you are normally very keen on how people on how the applicants are sticking to all the requirements that has been provided. The don'ts that you need to observe: don't submit incomplete documents. I'll tell you why that is important. I've mentioned about errors, grammatical errors. It shows you are careless. Nobody wants to give a job to a careless person because they will always be making a mess. So avoid also sending an application letter that makes reference to a different job or a different employer. We have seen this very often, where maybe you are sending 5 applications. One of the applications is sending to MKU, but you confuse the letters. So the one that you are sending to a different institution, it comes to MKU. Again, that one is, it means from the word go, when it is received, it does not belong to us, so you can't process it. So avoid long application cover letters or CVs. People want information that is tailor-made to what they are looking for, information that is summarized. When it comes to writing application letters or even writing a CVs, don't be verbose. More is not necessary, does not mean that you have a lot that you have done. We have no problem when you use AI to prepare documents, but if you don't edit, it is very apparent that it is not even you are not. It shows that you're not very thorough. You don't have even to utilize tools like AI to help you polish your documents. So make sure if you use AI, you have to do your own editing and put your own language, because a document that's fully prepared by AI, we're able to tell. So make sure you don't send application documents that are missing required information. So once we receive these documents, they go through the shortlisting process, and the shortlisting process has several stages. So the first one, stage 1, is the ones that are knocked out from the word go. If you submit an application outside the deadline, that one nobody bothers to look at it. So make sure that you observe the timelines for submission. For example, MK, we use a portal, which means you cannot submit outside the deadline. It will lock you out. But there are those employers who will tell you to send your information through email, meaning you can send even after the deadline, but they will still be able to look at the timestamp of the application and will be knocked out on that basis. The other thing we look at when you're knocking out is applications with incomplete documentation. I've mentioned this. you have to make sure that you have all the documentation. If the documentation that are not there, nobody will call you to look for those documentations. We expect you to follow instruction. If you send application without relevant requirements, that is, for example, you're applying for a position that requires somebody to have a BA, Bachelor of Arts, but you have a qualification, or your degree is in journalism. Of course, that is not a relevant requirement, and therefore that application will be knocked out. There is where we say relevant field. So the relevant field is acceptable. So the other one that you need to watch out is if you have without minimum requirements, that is level of study. If the application is saying that you need to have a minimum of bachelor's degree and you have a diploma, it means your application will be limited at that point. So just spend your time to set applications to where your qualifications matches. Now, the next one is where you are lacking relevant work experience. If an application requires you to have some work experience, make sure that you show, even though you are not employed, maybe you are doing internship, attachment, you are doing voluntary work. And that's why we encourage people to do voluntary work. Ensure that you can show that you have relevant experience, because if an employer wants you to have 2 years of relevant experience and you have not even indicated where you have worked before, it means your document will be eliminated. You will not be allowed to go to attend the interview. The other one is overqualified candidates. Applications from overqualified candidates are also knocked out. This is the reason. For example, if the job requires somebody with a certificate or even a diploma, and you have a master's, then it means even the budget for that position will not be able to take care of somebody with a master's. And even though sometimes people say, give this person a chance, it means the person with the master's will always be looking for an opportunity that aligns to their qualifications. So, but there are those positions that will say that the minimum is a degree, but the master's is an added advantage. That one is okay. But where you are told the minimum is a diploma and you have a master's or a PhD, your application may not be acceptable because of the concern that I have talked about. Allow me to mention something to do with some of the tests that are normally done. You find that some employers will require you to do, once you're shortlisted. Remember, what I presented earlier was knockout, but there are those candidates who are shortlisted. So once you're shortlisted, you find different employers will have different requirements. There are those who will require you to do an aptitude test. An aptitude test normally focuses on reasoning, on problem solving. So it can be numerical, verbal, logical, data, abstract pattern reasoning, things like that. So you are given a test that is able to test whether you have the right skill test to do the job. So if the employer you're dealing with requires you to do an aptitude test, then it means you need to prepare for aptitude tests. The employers who require you to undertake psychometric tests. So these are tests that are a bit more advanced. They look at things to do with workplace scenarios to check your situational judgment. For example, you can be told that your boss gives you an assignment, and then another boss in the same organization gives you a task with the same deadline. How do you navigate that situation? So the tests whether you are able to be judicious if you are given such kind of instructions. How do you handle it? How do you manage such tasks where there is conflicting deadlines by two senior people? So they also look at your motivation, your personalities, your abilities. So get to know whether the employer you're applying for a job for requires you to do psychometric test. I know also the employers will require you to do an IQ test. They want to know they want to test your cognitive and intellectual capacity. Again, if you have such employers, it is important for you to know how to navigate those waters, how to prepare for such. At MKU, we do what we call skill tests. So skill tests are done for technical jobs. So we test, we want to know whether, yes, your CV is good, but are you able to do the task that is required for that position? For example, if you are coming to apply for an ICT as an ICT technician, we'll take you to the lab and you be given tasks that an ICT technician is supposed to be able to do in the lab, and you are scored. So again, there are employers like MKU who require you to do skills tests. So we are tested on real job scenarios, and you're expected to see. We want to see whether you actually have the relevant skills to do the assignment that will be required for the job. So it's only after you pass the skills test that you're allowed to proceed to oral interview. So only after you pass the aptitude test, the psychometric test, the IQ test, that you will be allowed to proceed to the next level of oral interviews. I want to mention that there are some employers who look at your social media presence. That's why it's always very important for you to know, to be very careful what you put on your social media. Not all employers will look at your social media presence, but there are those who will do, because some organizations are very sensitive in the kind of personalities. They don't want you to have political orientation, or they want you to keep your political orientation to yourself. So it is always good to be careful that your social media presence is acceptable in case your employer checks that. Now, in terms of oral interview, how do you prepare for an oral interview? I want to mention that it is important for you to understand the employer you are seeking a position with. So know their vision, know their mission, know the sector issues. If it is a learning institution like MKU, it is important for you to know in the higher education sector what is happening, what is going on, what are the issues that surround your job. For example, if it is recruitment, right now we are talking about students who have passed to go to university, but they want to go to colleges, or they have COOPS placement, and how does that? So it is important to know, because when you come for interview, sometimes you want to know whether you have an interest in the area you have applied for. So make sure you do your homework. Also, understand the current issues in the field or job you have applied for. For example, if you have applied for a position of a recruitment officer, let me use a recruitment officer. There's somebody who will go and talk to prospective students, collect their data. One of the things we want to know is whether you understand you are able to you understand what is happening as far as that field is concerned. Okay, if you want a job of counseling as a counselor, you understand who are the regulators of people who are counselors. What is the most common problem that counselors are handling in the country with the young people? So we would want to know that it is because this tells us that you have an interest in that area. Also, be knowledgeable about legal matters affecting the job you have applied for. That, of course, also means that you read a lot about what you're interested in. Also, of course, I don't need to belabor this, that you need to know knowledgeable about the job you're applying for. If you want to be a lecturer, obviously you should know the content of the field that you want to come and train on, so that if you ask a technical question in that area, you're able to respond to. If you're somebody who is in the legal matters, or if you're a lawyer, for example, and because we always have subject experts, they will come and ask you questions in your profession. So we expect that you to be able to respond to them. So as you prepare for the oral interview, you need to prepare in that area. And also prepare for application questions, because you'll be asked, how do you do ABCD. That is relevant to the area you have applied for. So those are some of the things that when you're doing the oral interview, you need to make sure that you prepare. So if I can talk about if I can talk about still on the oral interview preparation, make sure that you prepare all documents in a neat folder. In this day and age, please don't carry documents in a brown envelope because they are nice folders that are not very expensive in the supermarket that can give a good impression. Remember, oral interviews, you make an impression by how you appear, how you have packaged your documentation, how you speak. So, and bring original certificates, copy of payslips, all those testimonials that are normally requested. Make sure you put them in a neat folder. It gives a message that you are an organized person, and every employer would want to recruit somebody who is organized. So for jobs that require membership to a professional body, make sure you have updated your membership certificate and you come with that certificate to your oral interview. Please get an official wear, be smart. Each position has a norm of dressing. If you want to be, if you're looking for a job as a lawyer, of course, you know how lawyers dress. If you're looking for a job of a lecturer, there's a way you should be presentable so that even if you go to a lecture hall, you are acceptable. So make sure that you are officially dressed and you are smart. We sometimes don't put a lot of premium in you wearing expensive suits and things like that, but you have to be presentable. I also want to mention that you have to be ready in case there's a long wait. Sometimes you find that you are scheduled to be interviewed at 10, but maybe the panelists are late or there are changes and you have to wait until afternoon. So make sure you have something that can keep you alive and energetic so that you don't come to an interview when you are looking tired. That will not work out very well for you. For virtual interviews, because they're employers and even MKU, we allow people to do interview virtually. Make sure that your internet connection is strong. Make sure your camera is working because for virtual interviews, your camera has to be on. We have to see you as we engage you. Make sure that your microphone is working properly and that there's no background noise, or distracting background, people moving in the background. So make sure that these are things that you have taken care of. So how then do we appear in an interview? One, you need to be punctual. Remember, some of the employers will schedule interviews and have specific time. So if you are scheduled to appear for interview at 9:30, please make sure you are there earlier. 9:15, 15 minutes earlier, you should be there. Because if you are late, some employers will tell you your interview has been cancelled because you are late. So you have to be punctual. I always say you have to, when you're preparing to go to an important meeting like an interview or you have a flight, leave earlier because you don't know what will happen when you're traveling. There can be accidents on the road that can delay you. So make sure you plan and leave earlier. Number two, you have to be confident and audible. No employer wants to hire someone who is not looking confident because they're not sure whether you are not confident because you're not capable. You're not audible because you are not sure of what they're talking about. So you have to practice and project a voice that is fully confident. Of course, when you are coming for an oral interview, you have to impress. Make sure your introduction is memorable. Make sure that it aligns your qualification and experience to the job. Relax and smile. Have a warm personality. Regardless of how the interviewers are looking like, you have to maintain a warm personality. You need to watch out for non-verbal cues. When you are being engaged, watch out for your facial expression. Because if you ask a question and you frown, you're sending a message. If your sitting posture is not good, already you are sending a message. If your tone of voice is not professional, you ask a question, you raise your voice, so that also may worry the people doing the interview, because they may start feeling that you cannot take instructions, because if you are being asked a question, you're raising your voice, that means there's a problem already. So make sure that you watch out for non-verbal cues. Don't give out non-verbal cues that will show that you are not a good person to be engaged. Also, watch for non-verbal cues from the people interviewing you. If you realize that they're not, you're giving a response and they're not looking very impressed, it tells you maybe the response you're giving is not related to the question they're asking. So you need to pause and see how to ensure that your response aligns to the question that is being asked. And I will be able to mention that in the next slide. So sitting posture should be upright, don't fidget, be confident, be comfortable. At the end of the interview, make sure you appreciate the interview panelists because of the time they have given you. So for virtual, it's still the same, but of course you make sure for virtual that the room you are doing the interview in should have no background noise. The background should not be distracting. If you know that your background is distracting, then use a virtual background. These are there, and you can be able to have one for that one. Now, I think an important part of this webinar is how you structure your oral responses. So I'll spend a bit of time here. Now, when the interview starts and you engage by different members of the panel, when you're giving a response, please make sure you give your answers through the panel chairman. It is disrespectful when you're asked or engaged by one of the members of the panel and you address that member of the panel directly. It is disrespectful to the person chairing the interview. So you say through the chair and then you give the response. Now, if the question you asked is not very clear, please prod. You can say, pardon me, do you mean, then you rephrase to what you think the question is asking. This makes sure that you are able to address the question that is being asked and not give a response that is not fully addressing that question, because this might cost you a bit of some marks. So make sure that you seek clarification. Then, if you're not sure, if it is clarified and you are very aware that you're not sure, make sure we don't say pass. We have I've seen a number of candidates who say pass. Please never say pass in an interview, because that one puts off the panelists. They feel that they're not serious. This is not a show where you say, I'll pass that question, give me another question. No. So what you do is that you say what you're knowledgeable about the subject area. But I'm knowledgeable, they're asking this question, but in that general knowledge area, or in that area that the question is coming from, there's a bit of things you know. So you can say, I'm knowledgeable about, you cite what you know, then you say whether you're not sure if that fully addresses their question. So it means you have given a response, and if the question was out of 5 marks, you may not get the full mark, but because you're knowledgeable about whatever the general area that was being asked, most of the panelists will give you at least a score, because they can see you're making an effort to address the question that has been asked. So ensure that there is eye contact and natural smile with the panelists. Make sure that you engage them. Make sure that, because these are people who want to know whether you are the right person to join the team join the company team. So make sure you engage them, you have a proper eye contact, and not smile naturally. Now, when reorganizing your mind, it is not good for you to use words like like. You can pause a bit, reorganize your mind, and then respond to the questions that have been asked. Next, you need to be natural. Don't overdo yourself. The temptation of saying that's a very good question is tricky, because it means if you say that's a very good question to only one of the panelists, what are you telling the other panelists who have asked you questions, but you have not told them that's a very good question? It means you're telling them that their questions were not good, and that may give them the wrong attitude. So the best thing is for you to avoid using such superlatives when you're responding to the questions. So you can appreciate the question, and then you can say thank you for the question, and then you respond to the question. But don't push it too much. Now, when you are asked about behavioral questions, there is a method called STAR, and this is very effective for structuring responses. When you are asked questions, tell us about, for example, when you resolved a problem. So what it says is that the first S is for the situation. What is situation? So in this case, you explain the situation when that circumstance happened, because you're talking about a problem. For example, in my previous posting, colleagues in my department used to quarrel due to allocation of field trips. That is a situation. What was the task did you undertake? As the person responsible, as the HOD, it was my responsibility to ensure harmony as it translates to productivity. So what action did you take to address this problem? So I organized a meeting where we drew a field trip schedule for the whole year and ensured fair distribution, so that these two colleagues can actually see that they will be given fair opportunity to go to field trips. What was the result? There was harmony in the department, and this led to increased productivity in the year. So you start with the situation, you say what you did, the task or your responsibility in the whole scenario, the action that you took, and the results of that intervention. So for behavior questions, it's always good to address that question by using such a formula. Another example, give us an example of how you have demonstrated leadership qualities. So you can give a situation. There is a time this Department of Occupational Safety and Health notified the company I was serving that they would undertake OSHA compliance audit. My supervisor tasked me to ensure the company was in good books, and therefore, as a team leader, it was my responsibility to ensure that the company was fully compliant. So what did I do? So I obtained a pre-audit questionnaire, I formed a multi-departmental committee that ensured all sections were fully addressed and fully compliant to the DOSH requirements. What was the result? The DOSH gave the company a clean certificate showing that the company was compliant. So that's how normally you address questions that are seeking to behavioral in nature. Now, what are the pitfalls to avoid when you are preparing for an interview? One is that please make sure you are knowledgeable enough about your employer. Do a bit of research. If they have been recently recognized, or if they have won an award, it's always good to show that you are following up the company. There is nothing as unfortunate as when you're asked about what do you know about us as a company, and you can't tell anything about that company. It shows you're not interested in that company. So avoid also giving the vague responses or I don't know response. I think I've talked about this. make sure that there's a smart way of addressing even questions that you're not sure about. You need to be honest, but make sure that you can be able to mention areas that you are knowledgeable about in the space that question has been asked. Don't talk negatively about your previous employer, your previous boss, because it tells the company interviewing you that also you talk negatively about them. So make sure that you are a professional when it comes to your previous employer or your previous boss. Don't be overconfident. If you are overconfident, it is not good, because it gives an impression that you'll be a difficult employee. Also, don't be underconfident. If you don't show confidence, then that means you may not be the right candidate for the job. Body language, I mentioned about this. Poor body language where you're not able to do eye contact. You're talking with a monotone voice, boring voice. You're not audible. You are yawning. You're fidgeting. You're frowning. Sometimes people break down. I mean, it's always good to avoid situation where you have to break down, because nobody wants to engage somebody who is already emotionally broken down to come as a new employee, because it means from the word go, you'll have to start taking care of you. So, and you want the job done. So it's always good to make sure that you don't put yourself in a situation where you end up breaking down. Light movements, creating light movements is a sign of confidence, but please don't overdo it. It is risky when you crack some jokes. So make sure you have to be very careful that the light movements you create are not you're not going overboard. And also, when you're responding to questions, don't be too wordy, because when you're too wordy, sometimes you give information that is not relevant, or information that can actually put you in trouble. Now, let me go to a section that I know is of a lot of interest to most of you, and this is a common interview questions. Now, we have basically two types of these common interview questions, and they are those basic questions, and these ones normally assess your communication skills, they assess your background, they assess your personality, and also your stability to the job you have applied. For example, you can be asked, can you tell us about yourself? So when you're told to tell us about yourself, the best thing to do is focus on your academic journey, focus on your professional growth. You have a degree and also you have a professional certificate. If you are an accountant, you have done some CPA. If you are a human resource professional, you have done some IHRM. In procurement, you have done those procurement professional courses. So mention about academic, mention about professional, mention about relevant experience that you have in the area you're interviewing for. By all means, please avoid mentioning about your religious affiliation. By all means, avoid mentioning about your age. By all means, please avoid mentioning about your marital status. Let's not that appear anywhere as you respond to that question about yourself. The other question that sometimes is normally asked is, why should we hire you? In this case, when you asked why should you hire you, the employer wants to know what value are you bringing to the organization. So you focus to what you're bringing to the organization. So you can say that you bring with you a combination of skills, attitude, and commitment needed to perform the role. And you can give an example that the job requires someone who is competent in this and this area. If it is IT, maybe the job requires someone who is competent in coding. So you say, I have over this number of years of experience in undertaking coding. And I haven't been awarded I've received this and this recognition. So that shows you the company is adding value. In you, there's value that they're bringing to the institution. And that's why they should hire you. So the value proposition, you make sure you market yourself, that you're bringing to the organization a set of skills that will add value to that company. Another question that may be asked is, tell us about a problem or challenge that you faced and how you resolved it. I know you have mentioned about this where you use the STAR method. Talk about the situation, talk about the task, talk about the action that you took, and the result that happened. So what you need to do is to prepare for such a question so that you have scenarios that address. And I don't want to go back to what you have talked about the STAR. The other question that is normally asked is, where do you see yourself? It can be 5 years, it can be 3 years. And in this case, it is important to make sure that you show or you explain how you intend to grow the institution in the job you are seeking. Then, how you upskill yourself to even become more efficient in that position. So, for example, if you are hiring you as a marketing officer to market a commodity, you can say that you want to grow the sales, by a factor, you want to grow the sales by 50% in the next 5 years, for example. And also you say, for me to do that, I will, get, because there are those short courses on marketing, that you are building yourself as you build the company. It is also okay to say that also you see yourself growing in the company, in terms of growing within the rank. It's still okay. What you need to avoid in this case is where you mention that you focus too much on yourself, where you're only focusing about how you are growing, but you're not focusing on how the institution you're working for is going to grow. The department you want to work for is going to grow with you in the next 5 years. The other common question is, what is your greatest strength and weakness? So it's always, this is normally a very tricky question, especially the part of weakness. Of course, the strength, you can say that you are, you commit yourself, or you are always very focused. So I think the strength, most people are able to address the strength. The challenge is the weakness. And in this case, it's always good to show a weakness that is real, but also a weakness that can be manageable. For example, if you asked, I'll give you an example that what is your biggest weakness? You can say your greatest weakness is work-life balance. That you find yourself working, immersing yourself into work that takes even the time for social engagement. But you show that this employer you're interviewing for, you are aware they have leave days, and therefore you'll work towards utilizing those leave days to ensure you have a healthy work-life balance. So the weakness you have is positive, because you are putting, you put a lot of time you have a lot of time working, but we know work-life balance is good, is important. So it's still a weakness, and you're managing it by making sure that you utilize leave days if you're given the position. So don't give weaknesses that are going to disadvantage you. For example, don't say that I have a problem with punctuality, because clearly that will tell the employer or the prospective employer that you're not be coming to work on time, or have a weakness of working under supervision. It means you'll be a difficult employee. But you can say, I have a weakness of working at the minimum supervision. You see, it's a weakness because also, okay, it's a strength. That is a strength, sorry. But so also on the other hand, when you're working under someone, you need to take instructions. So again, there's a way you can package it so that it can come out as a weakness, but something that can be managed. Another common question that can be a bit tricky is how do you handle pressure? How do you handle pressure? Because we all know that in at the place of work, there will be pressure. How do you handle it? So in this case, you need to indicate that because pressure normally comes because of deadlines, conflicting deadlines, short deadlines, and you need to show that you're able to organize yourself, that you're able to prioritize your work, so that the work that requires immediate attention is addressed, and the work that will not require immediate attention can be handled later or delegated. Alternatively, you can even mention that you can communicate early to your seniors in case of conflicting deadlines to avoid putting unnecessary pressure. So the issue of work pressure, you need to show that you are able to prioritize and organize yourself. And also even you can work with a team to help you minimize or reduce the pressure. Because most players don't want to engage someone who will come and break down because there is too much work. So you need to show that you can work under pressure, you can manage pressure, but also you're able to manage and you're able to organize your work such that that pressure does not overwhelm you. And you can do that through working through your team. You can do that through having a priority list and communicating to your supervisors how you have arranged your work so that there is no much pressure to submit assignments. The other question is, why did you leave your previous job? Why did you leave your previous job? So if you have been laid off, for example, if the other you have been laid off, we can talk about that there was restructuring and some positions were declared redundant or some positions are no longer tenable in the company. It is still okay to mention that because you have to be honest. But if you are working and you want to change jobs, it is also good to say that you are looking for an opportunity that provides greater alignment to your long-term career goals, and also that you are seeking for new challenges. That you're not running away from the employer without a purpose. Don't say that you are looking for a better remuneration. Focus more on opportunities for greater growth, opportunity that aligns with your long-term career goals that you can see in the organization you're interviewing with. That will show that you're not just living because of the remuneration, but you're living because you're moving because you want to grow. You want to grow, and this institution is giving you a better opportunity for career growth. The other question that is common is, what is your salary expectation? And I know in this case, of course, depending on the employer, there are employers who are comfortable when you say that you're able to fit within the salary structures of the employee. But there are those that insist to need to tell us what you expect as an individual. So if an employer insists, an MKU sometimes, MKU I know we insist, you just say that based on your experience, the responsibility of the position, and the market remuneration, you'll be looking for a compensation, then you give a range of between this and this. But you say, however, you are flexible and open to discussion on the overall package. So you give a range, but also you say you're open for discussion. So that's how you can navigate the question on salary expectation. And the range you give should be market rate. So don't give too low, don't give too high, because you don't want to disadvantage yourself. Then the other question that sometimes you can be asked is, tell us how our mission aligned to your career aspirations. Again, in this case, you need to show that you understand the mission of the organization that you are seeking to work with, and make sure now that mission is aligned to where you want to be. So you need to connect the two. You need to say that I'm aware that the mission of this company and even strategic plan is to achieve this and this within the medium term, and this within the long term. And my career aspiration is to do this and this and this, which now converges and makes you a good candidate, because the mission of the institution and your career aspiration are working together. The important thing is to make sure you understand the company, and also you see how that the company's mission, the company's strategic plan aligns with your career aspirations. So again, there are technical questions that you can be asked. Again, this is not easy for me to because they are specific to the job you are applying for. People who are applying for project management kind of jobs, maybe still to describe a project that you recently completed. So people want to see whether you have actually relevant experience in undertaking a project to completion. So they will want to hear your role in that project. They will want to hear whether you're able to close a project, whether you're able to give a good report. So that one you have to make sure you're able to give such a description. So what software tools and technologies are you competent in? Again, in nowadays, people would want to see that you're able to leverage on technology to do your job. I think most of the jobs right now, you need to be able to show what softwares you can leverage on to make you a better employee. So this may give you competitive advantage if you're able to show that you can actually use technology and certain tools to help you do your work. And that's like, how do you identify the cause of a system, equipment failure? Those are specific to people, jobs that are seeking or are using systems and equipment. But how do you test whether a solution to a problem is working properly? This checks whether you're analytical in the way you approach problems. Because for you to tell whether a solution is working, you need to understand the cause of the problem. You need to also show how you put in a solution and how you evaluate the performance of the solution you have given. So you need to be able to describe properly that process, because it is a process. How do you ensure that your work is the right quality and standard? That means the job you're applying for, you need to be aware of the policies in place, the standards in place, so that even as you give that response, it is aligned to if it's the industry standard, if the industry qualities, then you need to cite those standards and those qualities, in addition to the internal quality standards that are set by the organization. So it is an important question because it cuts across. It can be asked for any job application. I've mentioned about leveraging on technology in a previous work. Some employers may want to know whether you ever used technology in where you're coming from, and how you do intend to leverage on that technology if given the position that you have applied for. Another one that is normally very important is what innovation have you ever introduced in your place of work? So innovation is a big word, but innovation means creativity. So this one is seeking whether you are creative enough. Are you somebody who can think outside the box? Somebody who can propose ideas or new solutions to existing problems? And sometimes you are challenged. What kind of innovations are you going to bring to this organization? So in that case, it is important for you to indicate that you need time to understand the processes in the organization you want to join, so that now you can have innovations, or you can process innovation or product innovation that is going to improve the efficiency of operations. So that tells them that first they have to bring you on board so that you're able to come up with a solution, because probably you've already talked about how you have done it in other institutions that you are working on. So in conclusion, interview success is built on preparation, structure, and confidence. You have to prepare. You have to have a structured mind, how you respond. You have to be confident. And therefore, you need to prepare intentionally. You need to respond strategically. And you need to exude a lot of confidence as you respond to oral interviews. And remember, your opportunity begins the moment you walk into the room. So how you present yourself, how you package yourself makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very
Director?
much, DVC. Thank you very much, DVC. We are very excited. That's been an extremely amazing session, and I believe we have all had something to take home. I have personally written a lot of notes over here, but because I do not want to ask questions for myself, let's just first of all pick the questions that have been asked on the group. I will start with the latest. The question is, the question is, does the interview panel allow for people to note down the interview questions by the interviewee? Is it okay to note down the questions during the interview process? Prof?
Yes, that's allowed. That's allowed. Actually, it shows that if you come with a notebook and you're noting down questions, that shows a level of maturity. So it's allowed.
All right, we have another question. We have another question which says, during an interview, is it acceptable? Well, it's still it's a different person asking the same question. Actually, the question this other person is asking, could that be considered receiving extra assistance or an unfair advantage?
It only becomes an unfair advantage if the notebook you bring to the interview room already has some points. So if the panelists see you reading before you respond to questions, then it means your integrity is in question. But if you bring a notebook and you can see it's a fresh page, you are noting questions, there has never been a problem, at least from the many interviews I've engaged in.
Okay, amazing. So please bring your notebooks or your papers and note some points down for you to answer the questions. Another question, Prof, here is two questions. Let me do two questions. Then I will pick the hand of Mose Juma. But please, we are kindly encouraging you to put the questions down. It will be easy for us to answer many questions instead of giving the mic to everyone to ask a question. So Sylvia is asking, how do you handle not polite environment in the interview room, probably from the panelists? If the panelists are not friendly, Prof, how do you handle that? And then there is another question from Mohammed, and he is asking, how do you gain confidence? That confidence that you're talking about, how do you gain it?
Okay. I can start with the first one from Sylvia.
Okay.
She's asking about hostile panelist. It's the same thing if you have a hostile boss. So the expectation is that, of course, the chair of the panel is supposed to control the panelists not to be hostile. But in case you go to an interview panel that is hostile, you have to remain professional. You have to remain professional. You have to be careful not to look like you are arguing with the panelists, because the other panelists will remember you. We don't know you. We know each other. The panelists know each other. So if one of them is hostile, remain professional. Respond to questions that are asked in a professional manner. If the panelist becomes rude, remain professional, because you never know whether it is deliberate to test your breaking limits. test whether you can actually, especially for jobs where clients can be difficult. Some may go to that extreme. It's not professional, but probably some may go to that extreme. But always maintain professionalism on an interview panel, regardless of the circumstance or how the panelists may want to engage you. What was the second part?
Sorry, the second, it was actually a different question, Prof. It was a different question. Let me go back to it. The questions are coming in, they can fast. How do you gain confidence? Mohammed was asking, how do you gain confidence?
From what I have observed, you gain confidence if you're knowledgeable about first the content you are interviewing for. When you've done your homework and you're ready for the interview, you'll be confident. So my advice is that make sure you're thoroughly prepared. Make sure that you're prepared, because that gives you exude confidence. There's always been nervousness, but when you go into that room, you should be confident. But the other way also of doing it is to practice. Before you come to the interview in the privacy of your room, you can actually practice how you're going to the scenarios and how you're going to respond to those questions, how you project your voice, things like that. Whatever works for you, because people are different, try what works for you and use it to gain an advantage in an interview panel.
Amazing, amazing. And Prof, someone is asking me, can Prof put on his video? People need to see you. Prof, I think you should be able to put on your video right now. You can try. All right. Okay. I think it does not want you to be seen, Prof. Really, it's disappeared. Yeah. So, and yes, it's okay, Prof. Another person is asking a lot of thank yous there. Thank you, Prof, for the good presentation, great presentation, wonderful presentation. Yes, we will share this presentation tomorrow. Thank you, Professor. I request if you can share your contacts, if possible, if one wants to get in touch with you. Prof, I don't know if you are able to share your contacts, email address,
yes,
or something.
I'm dropping my email address right now.
Yeah.
So the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to reach
it
out
is there. So
thank you.
that's my email address. In case you want to communicate, you can use that one.
Amazing. Thank you, Prof. We have another question here. Let me see. All right. What should one do if the salary offered is below one's expectations based on their qualification? You probably do an interview, Prof, and you get the job offer, but the salary you are offered is lower than your expectation based on your qualifications. What should someone do? Is it possible to bargain?
Yes. The recruitment process at the final stage of the recruitment process, you are allowed to negotiate. The human resource manager will call you, and you're allowed to negotiate. The important thing is for you to show. Probably one of what I've seen work is if, for example, you are moving from an institution where you have a payslip, you can use it as a leverage. This is what I'm getting, and I believe I should get a bit more than what I was getting with my previous employer. So you're allowed to negotiate. It does not. Okay, most people fear, but don't negotiate during the interview. Normally, you negotiate after you have been selected for the job. So when they call you with an offer, then you can indicate that if they tell you this is what you're going to compensate you, you can indicate that I would want to a further consideration, and to give the basis. That right now there's the compensation package. Remember, there is the salary, and also there are other benefits. Maybe other than the salary, I'm getting these additional benefits. So the package is higher, and therefore you negotiate from that direction. if the employer really values what they bring on board, they will be able to adjust accordingly. At MKU, I've seen us do that when we are able to see that actually you deserve a higher package than the entry salary.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Prof. Many more questions here for you. Many more questions here for you. All right, sorry. All right, so we have this question. We still have a lot of questions about CV, Prof. And maybe I should read, let me read several of them combined. Sorry, my screen is not treating me very well. All right, so someone is asking, is it in order to ask for offer before responding in case they ask you about salary expectation? Is it in order to ask for the offer before responding in case they ask you about salary expectation? Should you ask for the offer? Then another question is, kindly Prof, repeat on how to answer the question on the expected salary. I missed that part. Then we also have this other one. When you walk into an interview room, do you greet the panel by shaking their hands or by word of mouth? You can pick those three, Prof. I'll be reading them in terms of three.
Okay, that's okay. I'll start with the first one. So the offer, from my experience, the job offer will come after the interview. So you cannot ask for an offer before the interview process is concluded, because remember you have several candidates. You'll be scored. The panel will discuss the results and they will be ranked. After ranking, then the offer is given to the best candidate. At that point that you get an offer. But during the interview, people want to know whether you can fit within their budget. And that's why they will ask you about the salary expectation. And I mentioned that there are those that are comfortable if you say, I'll fit within the salary range of the company. But there are those that would want you to give, to actually state how much you expect to be paid. That's what I mentioned. If an employer insists, and MKU we do insist, you can say that based on your experience, the responsibility of the position that you are going to undertake, and the current market compensation that you'll be looking for, a salary of between this and this range. Give range. But you say, I'm flexible and open to discussion of the overall package. So that's how I would handle such a question. And that still addresses the other part of the expected salary. Now, the issue of greetings, in most settings, unless you're invited to shake hands, it's just cordial enough if you can say hi to the panelists before you are offered a seat to sit. Otherwise, you can imagine for an interview that has maybe 20 people, everybody shaking a hand, it may not be very good. But in a format where they allow you to shake the hands, you can shake the hands. But from my experience, you don't shake hands until you're invited. If you're not invited, just greet the panelists as you are studying before you're offered a seat.
Amazing. Thank you, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. Another one here, and there are quite several. We'll try to rush through them. In a scenario where the panel has not mentioned the chair, what do you do in a scenario where the chairperson is not mentioned? So who should you address? Then another question is, this is a comment. Thank you, Alex. The true meaning of unlocking infinite possibility is now reflected through the webinar. I was in the dark, but now seeing rays of light and hope. Thanks. Thank you very much, Alex. We are grateful for that compliment. Mose is asking, how do we prevent temporary interview anxiety from being misconstrued by the panel as general lack of confidence? Very important question. How do we prevent temporary interview anxiety from being miscontrolled by the panel as a general lack of confidence? Prof, maybe you can pick those two.
Okay, yes. The first one was how to know who the chair is. The chair person of an interview is the person who invites you to the room, offers you a seat, and most likely tells you to introduce yourself. A good chair will actually be able to make you comfortable and tell you the format of the interview, to ask you to introduce yourself. So that's how you tell. I think it is unlikely for you to go to an interview and you sit down and nobody shows authority in a room. So basically that's how I would respond to that question about the chair. The other one from Alex was a compliment. We appreciate. Now the one from Mose, temporary interview anxiety, to be as I mentioned, because if you're anxious, I think to be the best thing is that before you go for the interview, you can just practice a bit. You can even practice with a friend. They can engage you so that you get more confident with how you respond to different scenarios. Sometimes anxiety is because you're not feeling ready for the interview. Having dry runs might help you too. If you have a HR friend, they can even help you do those dry runs. A little bit of anxiety is good before you come for the interview, so don't worry. But it should not make you tongue-tied that you come to a room and you're unable to introduce yourself. What I have seen us do is when we realize that a panel, an interviewee is anxious, we try to make them comfortable so that they're able to respond to questions. Even I know some people may have a problem stammering. It is still okay. A good panel will be able to understand that is common, and they give you room to introduce yourself and also respond to questions. So don't be over anxious. Most of the interview panelists are normally professionals in engaging interviewees, and therefore they will make you comfortable.
All right, thank you, Prof. And here is a little interview for you as the interviewer. What is one key quality that makes a candidate stand out during an interview? Number 2, could you share an example of a candidate who impressed you during an interview and explain what they did differently? And then number 3, with the job market becoming increasingly competitive, what additional skills or certifications would you recommend graduates pursue to improve their employability? With the job market becoming increasingly competitive, what additional skills or certifications would you recommend graduates pursue to improve their employability? Number 4, those are many questions, Prof. For fresh graduates with limited professional experience, what is the best way to demonstrate their potential and competitiveness during an interview? Prof, do we start with the first ones?
Yes, I'll start with the first one.
Okay.
So the first one was about one key quality that stands out. To me, what really stands out for me is when a candidate is confident. When a candidate comes to the room and you can see they're responding confidently, they are projecting their voice, they are confident with the content. That is a key quality that impresses me during an interview. That's one of the key qualities that I would really encourage people to, or the people in the webinar to cultivate. If you're confident, you stand out. The same thing. They have been asked question number 2. What's one of the things that have impressed me during an recent interview? I think that's the same thing. When candidates come and they are confident, they are comfortable at responding to questions. They even are able to have light moments, crack a joke that is not extreme. That shows that this these are candidates who fit very well within the working environment. They are comfortable when they're doing interviews. They'll be comfortable doing working. So that to me stands out very well. Now the other one is additional skills and certification due to job market competition. Me, I always say every profession has its own channels of growth. For example, we know accountants, they need to do CPS, they need to do this professional certification. So in most, if you go to most other professionals or most other jobs, they have that professional pathway of growth. So to me, invest a lot in that professional area of growth. Number two, also get these short, because right now we're in the age of AI, and most employers would want to know whether you're able to navigate and use the AI tools that are available, because they're making the work easier. The job market is changing. So make sure that you do those Coursera courses, the short ones, that makes you good in use of AI tools. Data management is critical. The world is moving towards using data to make decisions. So make sure you also invest in understanding how to manage or use data in your place of work, whichever job you're doing. That to me will give you an advantage. For fresh graduates with limited experience, even when you're fresh graduates, please make sure that you don't have gaps in your CV. I always encourage fresh graduates. I know things, economy is not sometimes not so good. Things are tough, but make sure you look for voluntary positions, look for attachments, and look for internships, because those are things you put in the CV and they're acceptable as experience. So don't allow yourself not to be doing something, because I know sometimes my younger brothers, Gen Zs, sometimes they feel like voluntary work is being used, but as you'll gain a lot of skills when you're doing voluntary work. You'll also be able to come across opportunities, and you may be discovered by an employer that somebody is committed, somebody is good. So I am a big proponent of doing voluntary work. That's how I got my first job. I was volunteering, and when the opportunity came up, when I applied, because already I was there, they gave me a big advantage. So that's what I would. So continue building yourself by getting those soft skills, but also make sure you don't have big gaps in the CV.
Thank you, Prof. Because of time, allow me to just pick two random final questions. I can see our time is so much spent. And one, we have to ask it because it's a very important question here. Stephen is asking, how should I respond to a question regarding a physical disability that I live with in connection with my position? The disability doesn't have a direct impact on the posts I'm applying for. How should I respond to a question regarding a physical disability that I live with in connection with my position? Please note that the disability doesn't have a direct impact on the post that he is applying for. Prof, answer that question together with another question here. Please, sorry, we are not able to pick all the questions because of time. Please pardon us. We have another question here. Someone is asking, and it has been asked before. Ask Prof, what should you answer if the panelist asks a private or sensitive topic? What should you answer if the panelist asks a private or sensitive question? I think there was another question that I felt hadn't been answered at all. There are many, but allow me to pick this one. Yeah. Brian is asking how to handle question of why were you terminated in your previous workstation, and when you asked about previous gross salary expectation, were the salary you were offered was high and the job you have done for the interview is slightly a lower rank. So you were terminated in your previous workstation. When asked about previous gross salary, gross salary that you are receiving, the salary was higher, but now you are applying for a lower job. So how do you answer that question? Those three, Prof, then we will be done.
Thank you. I think the first question was a good question on physical disability. How should I respond to a question regarding a physical disability that I live with in connection with my position and does not affect? So I think it is always important to make it very clear to the panel that even that you have this form of disability, you have lived with it, you have been working, you have gained experience, and you have been productive, and therefore, because that does not affect your productivity, so you should not shy off. If you look at the Public Service Commission, they are required by law to even recruit people with physical disability. I think they are given a quota or something. They are given some. They are make sure that they in the shortlisting they recruit people who have physical impairments because of inclusion. So the same way, it is against the law for an employer to disadvantage you because of a physical impairment. So, but you need to be very genuine and very direct. Indicate this: that I live with this disability. Have had this experience. I've worked for these organizations. It has not affected my work, and clearly it is not going to affect the work that you're applying for. Most of the employers, including MKU, we do not disadvantage someone because of the physical impairment. Now, if I can go to the other one, if a panelist asks a private or sensitive topic, you clearly say through the chair, that's a private or sensitive topic. I request not to respond to that question. That one, most panelists will respect you for not agreeing to engage in something that is sensitive. So nobody will penalize you, at least for the panel I've sat in, nobody will penalize you because maybe even the panelists who asked that question were not supposed to ask that question. So when you say it like that, in most cases, the chair will protect you and tell you it's okay, you don't have to respond to that question. Then the other one. So there's a question by Abui Muyora before I go to the one that you. So Abui is asking, what if you have experience that is not relevant the position you are applying for? Is it still okay to add it to your CV? I'll put it like this: What lessons did you learn? Because there are skills that are transferable. There are skills you can gain from a job that you can transfer to the position you're applying for. You focus on those skills. You put it there, and you focus on the skills that can be transferred to the position you're applying for. Let me give you an example. Right now, because you don't have many jobs, people start businesses. You can start a business that's not related to the job you're applying for, because it was a side hustle, it was a business. But when you're in business, there are several skill sets that you garner that will help you in organizational skills, how to relate with people, how to resolve problems. So all those things are relevant to any employment, and therefore you should not shy off putting it in your CV. Then the other one is somebody who has been terminated and they were earning a higher salary, and now they are looking for a job which has a lower salary. I mentioned that if, for example, you are terminated and you ask that question, you say that you are working for this company, there was restructuring, and therefore the position maybe you are occupying was no longer available in the company. That's why you had to let go, but you are taking this position because of the the exposure it is going to give you, because it is aligned to your career growth or your career aspiration. You show that it is aligned to your career aspirations, or it is aligned to or to provide your long-term career growth. So you show that right now you're focusing on growing your career and not necessarily on comparing the remuneration you are getting from the previous employer from the current employer. So you put it that way, I think the panelists will most likely not have a problem with such kind of a response.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Prof. We are very excited. Thank you for taking your time to really go through your presentation and, support us and support the alumni on this one. We are very, very grateful. I think we bring the session to an end. But before we do so, Prof, now that you're a member of the MKU Alumni Award Committee, we are just about to launch the Alumni Awards Committee, Alumni Award 2026. We will be talking about it actively from on our socials from tomorrow, and we open the nominations from 1st of September. They will be open until 30th of September for you to nominate an outstanding alumnus. Prof, do you want to say something about it before you are done with the session?
Right. Thank you very much. So what I would want to say is that as the director has mentioned, last year those who have followed this, so that we were able to have the first outstanding alumni award that was given to one of our alumnus. It had a cash token of $50,000. We are still so we have one now for 2026. This will be an annual activity, and encouraging you to nominate members of the alumni community who you feel qualify for the award. So it has several sections. I can see the director I know it will be posted. I can see it is in the chat. So once it is posted, I think to be released from is it 1st of September, Director? 1st of September?
Yes, yeah, it will be open. It will be open from 1st of September, but we are creating awareness about it. Yeah.
So make sure that be on the lookout. Let's promote members of our community who are making a difference out there, who are making change. Let's make sure that we nominate them so they can be able to get this award and continue making a difference. It is also a challenge to all of us in this platform. Once you're dedicated and you're making a difference within the community, other people will notice you and they will nominate you, and in the future you'll get even probably bigger awards. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Indeed, it is an amazing time that we have spent tonight. Thank you for taking time to bring a lot of knowledge to us about how to structure responses, build confidence, and of course, even talking about the Alumni Award for 2026. We are joined, and yesterday we were joined by the alumni 2025 alumni awardee, Mr. Ekilu. You can see him clapping. He joined us even today. Thank you very much, Honorable Ekilu, for joining us even today. Please look out for that. And also, just to remind us, tomorrow, same place, same time, we will be doing our last session. That is, we'll be talking about workplace conduct and expectations, professional conduct, how to conduct yourself as a professional, and workplace expectations. And please, we are trusting that you will join us tomorrow for our part 4 of this Career Foundations webinar. Indeed, they have been amazing. They have been nothing short of great. And I believe that you've been impacted in one way or the other. Please take your time, listen to the recordings that we were putting on our MKU Alumni Association YouTube channel. Get to listen again, and I'm so sure you will be so equipped with knowledge. There is someone who had asked a question about if how the university is supporting the alumni with jobs. We are doing that a lot, and of course this is part of it, how we support, because when we come here we also do virtual networking. Today, we've not been able to do a lot of networking virtually, but we do that so much, where we ask people to share the opportunities they have and people to say what they are needing from other alumni. And it has always been very great whenever we hear people saying that they were able to get jobs because some alumni shared those opportunities. But over and above that, please join our alumni channel. It has been shared here on the group. Please join it if you're not there. If you're not in any WhatsApp group, we have a specific WhatsApp group. It's called, actually a community. It's called Alumni Advantage. In the Alumni Advantage WhatsApp community, we share jobs strictly. People are sharing jobs every day, and they are so many. So it is my hope and trust that for every alum who is here and probably they're looking for a job, an opportunity, please join that group. Even for those that easily have jobs or they come across opportunities, join the Alumni Advantage community. If you join the channel, we will direct you there, and you will be able to get opportunities, and that will be very nice for all of us. We need all of us to have jobs, you know, and to grow our community. So thank you very much for joining us. I seem to not have a member of the Alumni Association in the group, and so I'll bring the meeting to a conclusion. We are sorry today we have extended with like some 20 minutes or so, but I believe there was a lot of engagement that we could not just cut it short. So our apologies for really extending time tonight. So maybe we can pray. Oh, someone is asking how they can join the group. Please check on the group, on the chat. We have already put the link. Join the channel, and then we will direct you to the specific groups. Where is the link? Zach, keep resharing that channel, the group, the link for the alumni channel. Let as many people join there. Yes, we have WhatsApp groups. We have the alumni channel. Please join. I believe Zacchaeus has shared them on the chat already. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me pray for us, and then we will call it a night. We are so grateful, Lord, for the opportunity to learn about how to prepare for interviews. We pray, even as we discuss tonight, that you will help us to be able to put into practice whatever it is we have learned. Thank you for the opportunity we've had with our professor, Peter, who has really taken his time to take us through this topic of tonight. We are so grateful that we have been able to learn, and even as we disperse tonight, disperse us with your love. We bless your name and honor you. In the name of Jesus, we pray and believe. Amen. Amen and amen. Thank you very much. Good night. Good night. Good night, y'all. Good night. Good night. Thank you very much. Asanteni
Good night.
sana. Good night. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Asanteni sana. Asante sana. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless you. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.